have you here watching our video. Based on what you saw earlier, do you have any ideas what are those about? Yes, that's right! For today's video, we will discuss the 206 bones and the functions of the skeletal system.
Unlike other living organisms, humans are vertebrates. As vertebrates, we have this amazing network of bones located on the inferior of our bodies, and so we have what are called the endoskeleton. Endo is a Greek for within or inner, referring to the location of the skeleton that is the insides of our bodies. This endoskeleton is actually only one of the different possible skeletal designs of what is known as the skeletal system. Our skeletal system is the body system composed of all the bones, cartilage, tendons, and ligaments which performs several critical functions for the human body. The first of which is it supports our body and provides a framework for movement. Our body is supported by the network of bones which allows us to sit up, stand, and provide some sort of structure. The limbs of our body in particular and its various joints provide a framework for movement that allows you to run around, do stationary exercises, to type on touchscreen phones, and even just to grasp or hold something in your hands. Another important function of our skeleton is that it protects our most vital organs. If you look at the ribcage, for example, it protects our heart and lungs and other organs. And as for the skull, its primary role is to house the brain itself. The third function of the skeletal system is that it performs a variety of physiological roles in our body, namely the storage of calcium and what is called the hematopoiesis. Hematopoiesis is the production of all cellular components within our blood. So our blood is made up of different components, the plasma, proteins, red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets, and these are all formed within the bone marrow of our bones.
Axial skeleton. An adult's axial skeleton consists of 80 bones in total. It is made up of bones that form the head, neck, chest, and spine. It protects internal organs and provides skeletal support to the entirety of the human body. Before we get into learning the skeletal system, the discussion will be using a superior to inferior approach to describe the positions of structures relative to other structures or locations in the body. Skull. It is the bony structure that supports the face and forms a protective cavity for the brain. It is very important because it acts as a support for other soft tissues located in the head. The skull's bones can be divided into two groups, those of the cranium and those of the face. The cranium, also referred to as the brain case, encloses and protects the brain. They are held together by ionic joints called sutures, which are made of connective tissue. The facial skeleton, on the other hand, supports the soft tissues of the face consisting of 14 bones, which fuse to house the orbits of the eyes, the nasal and oral cavities, and the sinuses. The skull's cranium is composed of 8 bones. Ethmoid bone, located in front of the sphenoid bone. Sphenoid bone sits below the frontal bone. Frontal bone makes of the forehead, including the upper portion of the eye sockets. Parietal bones, located on either side of the head behind the frontal bone. Occipital bone, located in the very back of the skull. Temporal bones, located under each of the parietal bones. Looking from the anterior view, the 14 bones of the face includes vomer, mandible, palatine, lacrimal, nasal, zygoma or zygomatic bone, inferior nasal concha, and maxilla. There are 6 small bones found within the inner ear canal that work together to transmit sound waves from the surrounding environment. These are called the auditory ossicles. These bones are named after their shape, such as incus or anvil, stapes or stirrup, and malleus or hammer. During development, the auditory ossicles are the first bones to fully ossify as they are mature at the time of birth, where they do not grow afterwards. One interesting fact is that the stapes in the middle ear is actually the smallest bone found in the human body. Just like the malleus and the stirrup, the stapes also play an important role in addition by amplifying and regulating the sound waves transmitted to the cochlea of the ear. Thoracic cage. Next up is the thoracic cage, made up of the sternum or breastbone and 12 pairs of ribs. These bones form a protective cage around the organs of the upper torso, including the heart and lungs. The sternum, derived from the Greek word sternon, meaning chest, is a flat elongated bone forming in the middle of the anterior part of the thoracic cage. This serves as the keystone of the rib cage and stabilizes the thoracic skeleton. Next are the 12 pairs of ribs, which partially enclose and protect the chest cavity where many vital organs are located. It is collectively made up of long, curved individual bones with joint connections to the spinal vertebrae. Furthermore, they vary accordingly based on their anterior attachments. Ribs 1 to 7 are also called true ribs. Ribs 8 to 10 are also called false ribs. Speaking of costal cartilages, these are segments of cartilage which is very essential in respiration because it allows the chest to expand, contributes to the elasticity within the walls of the thorax. If you're wondering why there are two sets of ribs missing in the equation, they are the ones which have no attachment points and are commonly referred as the floating ribs. The sternum can further be divided into three parts: the manubrium, the body, and the xiphoid process.
To introduce to you some of the interesting facts regarding the skeletal system. Most people have 12 pairs of ribs, but due to some specific genetic abnormalities, other people have 13. In most people, this extra rib, called the cervical rib, can cause medical issues like neck pain. Those who have this condition don't have any symptoms and are often unaware that they have it. The only bone in the human body not connected to another is the hyoid, a U-shaped bone found at the base of the jaw. This serves as a point of attachment for muscles and ligaments in the neck. Given this peculiarity, it has been described as free-floating. The next part of the axial skeleton is the vertebral column. This is also known as the spinal column and is a flexible column that encloses the spinal cord and also supports the head. This comprises of 5 divisions. The first division is the cervical vertebrae and is located at the base of the skull. Its function is to support the skull, enabling head movements back and forth and from side to side, as well as protecting the spinal cord. Second is the thoracic vertebrae, which are located between the cervical and the lumbar spinal vertebrae. Generally, the spinal bones are larger and heavier the further down they are located. This helps each vertebra to support the weight of the vertebra above it, as well as the weight of the brain and the skull. Next is the lumbar vertebrae. Its main function is to bear the weight of the body. The lumbar vertebrae are much larger in size compared to those of the cervical and thoracic in order to absorb the stress of lifting and carrying objects. The other division of the vertebrae is the sacrum, an irregularly shaped bone that serves as the base of the spine. Regarded as the keystone of the human body, it is important because it forms a link between the spine and hip bones for stability, especially in a standing position. The last division is the coccyx or the tailbone, which is located at the bottom of the spine. Same as the sacrum, it functions to support and stabilize a person, however, in a sitting position. With regards to the first 3 divisions, the cervical vertebrae consists of 7 bones, with the first being called the atlas, while the second cervical vertebrae is called the axis. The thoracic vertebrae consists of 12 bones, while the lumbar vertebrae consists of 5. All in all, including the sacrum and the coccyx, the vertebral column consists of a total of 26 bones.
Appendicular skeleton is the name of the other division of the skeletal system, and are so called since they act as the appendages of the previous division. It houses a total of 126 bones, which is more than half of the human body and includes the bones of the pectoral girdle, upper and lower extremities, and the pelvis girdle. To start off, the pectoral girdle is a set of bones in this division which connects to the arm on each side. In humans, it consists of the scapula and the clavicle. Also known as the shoulder blade, the scapula is a flat, triangular bone located at the back of the trunk. It is a really important part of the upper portion of the human body since it provides a point of attachment for a number of muscles that make up the arm and the shoulder. Without it, several movements people do normally will not even be possible, such as the upward and downward movement of the shoulder joint. On the other hand, the clavicle is an elongated, S-shaped bone that rests horizontally at the sternum. It lies above several important nerves and blood vessels, so Its location is also the exact reason why it functions to protect the underlying neurovascular structures. Believe it or not, these vital structures are rarely injured when a fracture occurs. The next set of bones in the appendicular skeleton is the upper extremity or the upper limb. This includes the bones of the arm, the forearm, the wrist, and the hand. First comes the humerus. It is a long bone of the upper limb which extends from the shoulder down to the elbow. It is both the longest and the largest bone of the upper limb, which serves as an attachment to 13 muscles that contribute to the movements of the hand and the elbow. Next is the forearm, which contains two major bones. One is the radius, while the other is the ulna. The radius and the ulna are the bones of the forearm, that is the region of the upper limb that extends from the elbow down to the wrist. The radius bone supports the lateral side of the forearm, while the ulna bone supports the medial side of the forearm. In terms of function, they actually consort with each other where both play a vital role in how the forearm rotates. Focusing in the human's wrist, it contains what is called the carpals. Carpals is made up of a set of 8 irregularly shaped small bones that allows the wrist to move and rotate vertically. Connected to them are the metacarpals, that is a set of long bones that are named according to the finger it is situated. These are the thumb, index, middle, ring, and small metacarpals. Additionally, the phalanges of the hand are the group of small bones that comprises the bony core of the digits or fingers of the hand. Even though they are small in size, they are classified as long bones because of their structural characteristics. The phalanges play a vital role in the movement and flexibility of the digits as well as the whole hand. These bones allow us to flex and hold the fingers and thumb to hold or pick something up and carry on daily activities like using a phone, typing, eating, and so on. When humerus is being mentioned in lectures, many people believe that the funny bone is directly related to it. However, the truth is that the funny bone is not even a bone. It is a nerve. It is your ulnar nerve, which runs inside your elbow joint. It is way more sensitive compared to the other parts of the body, so when you accidentally bump it, it will really hurt. Another section of the appendicular skeleton is called the pelvic girdle. It is sometimes called coxal, innominate, or the hips. It is made up of two bones, the left and the right. It is a bony structure that has a role of supporting the weight of the upper body, especially when sitting, and also to transfer this weight to the lower limbs when standing. Nevertheless, the most important role of this structure is protecting the internal pelvic organs such as the bladder, the uterus, and other reproductive organs. Men and women's skeleton look surprisingly alike, but the shape, the size, and even the angle of a woman's pelvis are especially geared for childbirth. That is the fair reason why women have wider hips compared to men. But sadly, some female pelves are still not wide enough, which can result in difficult childbirths. Last but not the least, the lower extremity or the lower limbs are also part of the appendicular system. It is for the reason that it is attached via the hip joint to the two bones of the pelvic girdle, and this includes the bones of the thighs, the legs, knees, and the feet. Starting from the human thighs, the femur can already be recognized. It is both the longest and the strongest bone in the human body, extending from the hip down to the knee. Experts stated that this bone has the ability to support the weight of the body on the leg and is capable of carrying 30 times of its weight. Inferior from the femur, the patella or the kneecap is a small and freestanding bone that rests between the thigh bone and the shin bone. An injury in this section is a huge deal, especially because the joint linked to it is the largest in the body. A person, especially athletes, that has injury in the patella will experience difficulty in walking, running, standing, or engaging in other physical activities. Next are the two long bones in the leg. The fibula is a slender bone located lateral to the tibia, which is one of the largest bones in the body, just taking one spot behind the femur. Both the tibia and the fibula provide stability and provides leverage for the leg to propel a person through movement. Before continuing in the discussion of the bones of the feet, it is important to take note that more than half of the total bones in an adult skeletal system can be found in the hands and the feet. There are 27 in each hand and 26 in each foot, and the way they are arranged is remarkably similar. If you bend your fingers in each hand, surprisingly, you can observe that each contain 3 bones except for the thumbs which only have 2. The same is true for your toes. These bones in your fingers and toes that facilitates intricate movement are called the phalanges. Phalanges are long bones in the foot. These bones form the structure of toes and are crucial for most of the evolutionary activity in hominid species. The big toe consists only of 2 phalanges, while the other toes consist of 3. Located proximal from the phalanges are the metatarsals. These are the bones that are tubular in shape, which work with connective tissues, ligaments, tendons, and provides movement in the foot. They also help form the arches of the foot because of their shape, making it essential in both weight bearing and walking. These bones also have similar functions with the tarsals. However, tarsals is a set of 7 irregularly shaped bones. They are also relevant in relation to the feet's flexibility. As it has been discussed, your skeletal system is to your body what wood and bricks are to a house. With a strong foundation, the human body is designed to do a multitude of amazing tasks, from walking and running to giving childbirth. Here are some unique facts and trivia about the bones and the skeletal system as a whole. Bones can break, but they're designed to stand up to daily wear and tear. For example, there are bones which can absorb 2 to 3 times your body weight in force. The femur can even withstand 30 times the weight of the body, so it must be very resilient. Bones are built to constant use. That's why health professionals suggest that accompanied movement, such as walking, can help build your bone health. A bone is a living tissue that changes throughout our lives, as the body breaks down an old bone and forms a new one. The greatest gains in bone size and strength occur in adolescence when the hormones of puberty speed up bone growth. Bones not only get longer and wider, they also get denser or thicker. People reach their peak bone mass and eventually stop growing in length during puberty, but bone density and bone strength will change over the course of life. There are many types of joints. Some joints are very mobile, like the hinge joints of the knees. Other joints may move a little, such as the vertebrae. As a matter of fact, there are also joints that don't move at all, such as the suture joints in the skull. The entirety of the skeletal system is composed of a framework of proteins and minerals such as calcium, phosphorus, magnesium, potassium, zinc, copper, and protein collagen. Calcium is the most important mineral for bone health. However, the other minerals play an important role as well. The good news is that a balanced diet provides adequate nutrients for most people without the need for expensive supplementation. The inside of your bones are filled with a soft tissue called bone marrow. Its 2 types, the red and yellow bone marrow, have many blood vessels and veins running through them to let nutrients and waste in and out of the bone, which also produces stem cells. The shiny, white enamel that covers your teeth is even stronger than a bone. This resilience surveys is 96% mineral, the highest percentage of any tissue in your body, making it durable and damage resistant. This may be the reason why your smile can be stronger than you think.